Good evening. It's 7:30 by the time I'm making this video. This is about, well, for one, I would never have learned and understood what this skill set I have if it wasn't for a really good teacher that I learned from and I watch and I learn from a lot. Alberto Kennedy. He calls himself Grimoire, and I wanted to give him the credit because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't understand this content and what I'm been bestowed with. So, big thank you to Mr. Kennedy. I can't help but say that. And thank you for shedding light on this so that way I became aware of what it is, how to use it to its fullest potential, and understand it. Because this couldn't have been done without you, but anyway, getting back on point. So, at the title of this video, it's called, What is a Sin Eater Empath? Now, to understand that, you have to understand at the core what an empath is. An empath is an individual who is more in tune with the energies of a person, place, thing, animal, plant, location, or anything that's in existence. They are far more in tune to what's not being said, what's not being touched, what's not being seen. It's pretty much like a second sense, like in The Sixth Sense. I see dead people. It's somewhat to that extent, but depending on that person's sensitivity and how close they're in tune with it, it varies from individual. Now, getting into more specifics, what a Sin Eater empath is, it's similar to a psychic vampire. Now you're thinking, psychic vampire? That doesn't mean you're going to suck my life out of me, are you? No. Well, some do that, and they do it painfully, or they know they're doing it, and they're taking a good hoo-ha with it, which is a But at the core, a psychic vampire feeds off of a person, place, thing, animal, plant, environment. They feed off the energy that they emit. Primarily, they focus on the positive energy. Like if somebody's in a good mood, like say this person is in a good mood, this psychic vampire who's down sees that, and then they fiend off of it, they get better, and then this person gets all down in the dumps, and this person's better. If that makes sense. Now, a Sin Eater does this. Say that this person's down. And then we have a Sin Eater over here. A Sin Eater, what they're capable of doing is the exact same thing what that psychic vampire is able to do, with a twist. A Sin Eater is capable of taking someone's negativity, feeding off of that, releasing that person from that negativity so they can go and be positive again. Now, this is the catch. With a psychic vampire, they feed off and then they get the positive energy. And then this person goes down because they don't have that positivity in them, and now they're afflicted with negative. The Sin Eater, this is how it works. What a Sin Eater can do if they choose to do. This is the key thing. They don't have to do this. In fact, they don't even have to do it at all if they want to. What they do, if they so deem it fit, someone who's experiencing any kind of pain, past trauma, mental trauma, emotional pain, mental pain, negativity of any kind, illness, disease, pain, anything negative, if that person so chooses, that person can go focus in onto that negativity, yank it out, and feed on it, while this person being afflicted gets released from it. Now, what else a Sin Eater can do? They feed off of karmic, which is like stuff that if you do this, then this. They can take that from you and then you be freed of it. They can take away some of the pain of the illness. They can take away all of the illness if they're really focused on it. They can take any kind of past regret, and then you be freed of it. Pretty much you name it, that sin eater can take that from you and release you from it. But now the catch. The minute a sin eater grabs a hold of that negativity and releases it, you're free. You're perfectly fine. But now the sin eater taking on, say for an example, this is actually an example that actually happened before. A friend of mine, she was sitting on the couch where I was living at. She was sitting there, and then all of a sudden her wrist, out of nowhere, just got into a big shocking pain, like, oh, my wrist. Oh, the pain, the agony. Ah. So hearing that, I stepped out of my room. I looked at her. She's like, oh my God, my wrist, my wrist, my wrist. I walked over to her and like, oh, that's not good. That needs to stop. I just walked over close enough, put my hand, I just went focused in, grabbed it, and yanked it out. And then she, in pain with her wrist, distinguishing that the pain stopped, went, what the heck just happened? Because right there, I focused in on it, pulled it out, inflicted that onto myself, her being released of that, but my wrist then began to experience that pain because that is negative energy that got pulled out of her, and then I got afflicted with it. That's what a sin eater does. Same thing like with an animal. This same person, she has a dog, and that dog was just not feeling it, not happy, not just like, I hate this. Then my friend was worried, like, oh my gosh, my dog, why is she ill? I had to take her to the vet. So I sat on the same couch, funny enough. I looked at her and I tapped on my lap a few times. She came over, she sat like laying in my lap. All that I did was just pet her. 1, 2, pulled it in me. Then I got afflicted with like some kind of like some memory that the dog had. It all came in and it hit me at once. And being strong enough and pushed myself through it, the dog went from laying down to upright, looked at my friend, jumped off my lap, ran over to her, jumped on her lap, then 2 seconds later just became ecstatic with energy. Like she was running around doing, well, not really literally doing backflips, but she was just so energized. It's like, what the heck happened? Out of nowhere, my dog was like not doing well, and now she's running around all over the place, like ecstatic, going crazy, like she's never been like this before. That's the potential of a sin eater if they know what they're doing. And funny enough, this same friend, her son was experiencing a knee pain. Like, oh, my knee. And he was trying to stand up, but he couldn't because it was locked or was in some kind of pain. And then I just looked at him and I said, here, hold still. I told him, have your knee go out. Like, hold out your knee. Put my hands on it. Like, moved it around in a circle and went, pulled it out of him. And then I said, there, now try walking now. He stood up and he started walking. He's like, what the heck? How'd you do that? Again, that's what a sin eater does. They take the negative out of you, and then they feed off of it, or they get afflicted with it. The problem is that if a sin eater is aware of this, because there are some sin eaters that are not aware of this. Once you take somebody's negativity, karmic, any kind of energy whatsoever that is toxic, if you are not strong enough, it'll overpower you, and you will have to go through all that. But if you're strong enough, you can take that negativity as it's hitting you, transmute it, which is like a bit of the yin and the yang, which takes the negative, turn into a positive. But you have to be able to understand how to do transmutation. But with that, regarding if you're capable of doing it, you can take someone's negativity into you, flip it, and make it a positive for you instead. It's very difficult to understand and grasp, but once you got it, I can tell you this much: you have potential to help so many people. Like, it's unreal how many people you can help. But part of the things you have to understand of being a sin eater, one, you have to be able to look at somebody, regardless of who it is, your best friend, your worst enemy, family member, non-family member, someone who has done the best for you, someone who's carried you through the dirt. You have to be able to completely go neutral and be 100% neutral and void, meaning that no matter what is said to you, because part of another sin eater's ability is that they're able to listen, not pass judgment, and allow somebody to let all of their negativity out, and them being void allows them to take all of that on themselves and release that person who is letting it out, allowing them a chance to be refilled up with positivity and what's going to help them in life. And just like, again, when you're getting hit with all that, you have to be able to withstand it and not become afflicted with it. But when you get afflicted with it, you have to be able to go, this is not going to affect me. Either get rid of it or take it and make it better you instead. If you don't have that strong mindset, you cannot do this. Because, for one, it's far too dangerous to take someone's negativity onto yourself, and if you're not prepared, you can be put through so much, it's unreal. However, though, on the other side of the coin, if you're strong enough to withstand that, transmute it, or deflect it out away to somewhere else where it doesn't harm you or the victim, even that is good enough. Because what you're doing is you're taking somebody's challenge that they have been facing for far too long, you're taking it from them, and you're releasing them of it, which is really probably one of the best things you could do if you have this ability. It's hard. It is very difficult. And it's a double-edged sword. But once you know how to do it, and once you get a grasp on it, because in reality, there is no way of mastering a technique. Nobody can master a technique. Because all that a technique is a skill that someone has that they practice. Every master who pretty much teaches an ability, they don't master a technique. Because what a master does, a master teaches a technique to another individual, which that student becomes a learner of that technique. And that master becomes also a student. That master, as a student, is helping that student that he's teaching become a master. And each time that student who is now a master, which there is no such thing as a master, because a master is always a student, goes out, makes more students, and when this master comes back to this one who taught him originally, it puts this teacher on the spot to take new approaches to the technique, to take new students and repetitionally teach the same technique and method over and over and over again. Repetition with a technique allows it to become more, and more powerful. However, there is never an ending with a technique. There's no mastery point. There's a very great understanding, yes, and know how to use it for its potential. However, when it comes to these techniques of energy work, martial arts, because energy work and martial arts go hand in hand, when you keep investing into these techniques, you can understand how to take them and change them around and use them to your advantage. Being a sin eater, you can take someone's negativity, transform it to positivity, give it right back to them, as an example. Or you can take, as a sin eater, take their negativity, transform it, and just get rid of it. Or you can take the negativity out of somebody, transform it to positivity, and empower yourself with it. The options are endless. But as with every technique like this, or every kind of empathic blessing someone's faced with, the core of it is that it's a responsibility. Right at the core, it's a responsibility. And with this responsibility, you have to understand it's vital that you use it as it's intended. It's intended is more than just one's gain, it's for the gain of others who need the help as well. Just a little brief historical background. A sin eater is also these individuals who are bestowed with. There are divine beings or astral beings or demigod beings. Some examples are, let's see if I can try and pronounce his name right and correctly. I'm going to have Mr. Kennedy pronounce his name correctly, but his name is Tisabioka, I believe. I apologize if I say his name wrong. And pretty much what he is, he's divine of the dark, and he was a sin eater. Another type of a sin eater, funny enough, is my matron goddess Hel. She is a sin eater because she's able to go towards anybody neutral, and they do whatever they have to do, and she just sits there and watches. Doesn't flinch, just sits there. No matter how good or bad, she just sits there and takes all of it. She can't be moved, she stays there until they're finished. Another one, I'm going to try and pronounce her name correctly, as well, is Santísima Muerte. Reason being, she turns nobody away. And because of that, she has to be able to look past the person into the soul of that person. Which again, you have to be able to do that to be a sin eater. You have to look beyond the person, beyond the mistakes, and see that it's a person. That's what death does too. Death is a sin eater. It doesn't judge, it doesn't look at anybody any different. All that it knows what to do is say, hey, it's time. And everybody faces it sometime. Now, at the core of it, number one, if there are people who are aware of this, or they know they can do this, or they are capable of doing it, understand that it takes a lot of discipline, and if you're not disciplined enough, you could be taking on a bunch of people's negativity without even knowing it. That's why it's always good, daily, when you wake up, get yourself grounded, cleared, ready for the day. As day goes on, make sure you have intervals to ground yourself. Take any kind of negativity that you know it's not yours, transmute it, power yourself up, or take it, fling it away from you. And if you so choose to, you cross paths with somebody who needs help, if you choose to take on what they're encountering with or what their challenges are, this is your decision. Remember it, only you can decide this. Not the person in trouble, not their friend, not your friend, not your family, not their family, not nobody but you. If you choose to take this on, it's on you. You made the choice. You have to deal with the backlash, the responsibility, and what comes with it. That's just how it is. You don't have to like it. You have to put up with it, and you have to figure it out. That's what a responsibility is. It doesn't care if you like it, love it, hate it, want it, don't matter. If you choose to take it, you have to take it, and you have to deal with it. You take it on, they get freed. Now you have this negative responsibility. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take it on, transmute it to better you? Take it, push it away, exile it, get it as far away from you as possible, saying this isn't mine, or whatever you deem fit. It's on you. But if you take it on, for an example, pulling off that negative, and you're going to be saying, I'm going to afflict myself with this, you must hold on to yourself and keep yourself grounded and strong enough to not let it affect you, because if you're too weak, it'll afflict your mind, it'll afflict you all over and completely take you down. That's precisely why you have to understand how it is to be grounded and strong. But in all actuality, this is my take and how I describe how it is being a sin eater is. It's a really good gift, but it is not without its responsibilities and what you have to understand with. And I give, again, credit to Mr. Kennedy for bringing light and understanding to this ability to me, because I'm gifted with this, and it is what it is. I don't have to like it. It is what it is. And I hope this was informative. If there's any questions about it whatsoever, just leave them down in comments below or the whatnot. And if there are any other questions regarding, like, well, how do I like dismute it, or like push it away from me, or command it away, transmute it, I'll be more than happy to make content and videos about it. But as for right now, this is House here, and I'll see you guys whenever another video comes up.